Joe, let's talk about the General Assembly's week.
Yeah, we've gotten to that point in the legislative process. It's a little like the movie Fight Club. And the number 5 rule in Fight Club is that you have to have only one fight at a time. And that's where it differentiates a little bit from the legislature. There's a lot of fights going on. But the rule number 7 is what applies most, in that everybody fights until the fight is done. And right now, the fight is between the legislative leadership and the governor over the budget. And the House and Senate are meeting behind closed doors to talk through the differences in the two chambers' versions to come up with a final package. They've started some conversation with the governor's office. The key sticking point, Medicaid expansion. The governor signaled early on in the legislative process he would not support a budget that did not include the funding to expand Medicaid.
He wants all issues on the table, right?
Well, and there is a little bit of conversation taking place now. How would they structure it if they were to separate out other issues that are not necessarily impacted by Medicaid expansion so that the budget for other things in the state could go forward even while this dispute's being adjudicated? Some of the other things that have percolated up recently, certificate of need, the process for a healthcare facility to apply to open in a location in the state, you have to have approval from North Carolina. Most states have done away with this process. A lot of discussion about this over the past decade in North Carolina. A bill was put forward this year, as it has in past sessions. It recently was, the language relative to repealing CON was stripped out. Some speculation it might be contained in the budget. Part of the bigger discussion about healthcare challenges in North Carolina, innovation is not as possible in the minds of some advocates for the repeal of CON because of that process, that innovations in healthcare would be more likely to occur if entrepreneurial activity could take place and there wasn't this laborious state approval process. Most interesting this week, industrial hemp in the news. The Farm Bill in North Carolina included some provisions to help this burgeoning industry in North Carolina. The challenge, law enforcement says, is that the flower of the hemp product looks a lot like marijuana and smells exactly like marijuana. It doesn't contain the same hallucinogenic drug as marijuana, but law enforcement said it make it very hard to discern the difference between the two. So we'll see how much further hemp production goes in North Carolina.